Greetings, adventurers! It is I, the Dungeon Delver. Hey, thanks for watching this video, this kind of big announcement that I've been sort of building up to for a long time. I have been wanting to take the Delver's Dungeon into a new direction for a long time, but it's always been a case of conflicting time or technology, as anyone, which would be probably about 5 of you, have noticed following my website. I've always tried to get sort of a very clean and pretty front page where content could be offered. And that's been a constant battle over the years to get something set up that I could easily maintain and easily slip content into. So, linked below in the description, you'll see I've moved it over to Blogger. Thedungeondungeon.com, the domain is still up, the forums are still there. It's just for new entries, check out the Blogger. But the really big thing is this is the YouTube channel that I've been wanting to create for you guys for quite a while. Now, my original intention was to announce this on the 13th birthday, if you will, of the Delver's Dungeon. You know, has been 13 years since I kicked this whole crazy fan project off. There's been a lot of cool and interesting things. But what I've really wanted to do is to kind of do something live, for lack of a better term, where I could show you some of the cool things that I've purchased and received and things that I think are just really cool. You know, because there's a tactile element to role-playing games that you don't get just necessarily reading about role-playing games rather than, you know, reading a role-playing game. And what I'm hoping to do is, what I'm planning to do is to bring you guys one new episode a week of all new content, where I talk about old school games, and that's not just Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, although that's going to be the primary focus. When I talk about old school games, I'm talking about stuff like Traveler and Tunnels and Trolls and Elric and RuneQuest and Call of Cthulhu and Twilight 2000, and the list just goes on and on. There is an entire world of games that don't necessarily fall into the same paradigm as Dungeons and Dragons, but are equally cool and equally fun that you can find to talk about. Oh, unless anyone think I'm being exclusionary, of course I mean original Dungeons and Dragons too. There's a whole lot of stuff to talk about just on that frontier. Another big focus, in case I didn't mention it earlier, is miniatures. I got a Dark Sword mini here, and I've got one or two more back there to talk about. There's a lot of beautiful miniatures out there to game with, and I wanna kind of show off some of what I've got. Maybe check into some new things. You know, look at things like pre-paints. This is I guess technically this is an old D&D miniature now, since they're not doing the this particular iteration of D&D minis anymore. So we'll talk about things like that. Oh, and lest I forget, one of my great loves of the hobby, if you like a 3D tabletop, and I'm talking about a real, something you can touch, something you can pick up and hold in your hands, 3D tabletop, not a virtualized computer thing. Dwarven Forge and other kinds of fantasy terrain. I happen to love Dwarven Forge a lot, so I'm going to be doing at least one episode on that. I know technically that's cheating because I've run my mouth about Dwarven Forge many other places in many other contexts, but it's really cool, and being able to show off some of the cool setups that you can do with Dwarven Forge and with their new their new Dwarvenite resin pieces that are less expensive. It opens up new vistas if that's your thing on the tabletop, but I'm getting ahead of myself. And of course, as I said, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, right here, baby. Game numero uno. I'm going to be talking about that. Another direction I want to go with AD&D and original D&D and sort of the related products, maybe stuff from Mayfair and what have you, is a little series of episodes I'm going to call D&D Lore, where we look not just at the product like, hey, it's this many pages, it's got this much stuff in it, but what's the story behind the story? You know, maybe there's one of those rare modules that you hear about but you never see in shops, and you know you can't even get a PDF of off of dndclassics.com. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff to do with that. Gonna be talking to some authors who are still working in the field of old school stuff from back in the day. And just primarily, this YouTube channel is going to be about stuff that I like, things that I enjoy, things that you know, I've bought over the years, brand new stuff I'm buying. Jumping back to miniatures, there's going to be times when I talk about painting, and you know, you'll just see this because I'll have the camera focused on my hands while I paint or while I show off the details on a miniature. I'm not a great painter. I happen to think I'm pretty good, as you'll see down the line. But that's really what it is I want to talk about cool stuff. I want to share it with you guys. If you think it's cool and you want to go out and get yourself a copy of the book, or get the miniature, or just, you know, just share the video around and say, hey, check this out. This Dungeon Delver guy, Bill Sylvie, he is really kind of, you know, brought some interesting stuff out. That's what this is all about. It's about having fun. It's about having a good time. It's about talking about D&D. Now, one of my friends asked me when I started to set this up, hey, are you going to stream your channel? Are you going to stream your games? Are you going to put it on Twitch? I don't really know. I don't know if I'm going to go that route yet. That requires getting the permission of the sort of floating circus of anywhere from 4 to 8 fellow players that I have on a given Friday night. Do they want to be broadcast? And can I properly set that up and, you know, make sure the lighting is nice and so on and etc. So that's a definite we'll see. You know, as far as anything else goes, I do kind of want to you know, explore some other aspects of the hobby, like I said, that I never really touched on in the web version of the Delver's Dungeon. Different old school games, new stuff that has an old school vibe to it. I think there's a lot of good games out there that kind of get overlooked, you know, because they aren't hoary old tomes that are printed by Random House. Sorry for the jittery camera. They were printed by Random House back in 1978. But they're still really cool. They're still really very playable, and they don't have all that baggage that kind of comes with newer games. Another question that came up was, am I going to talk about 5th edition? It's so influenced by old school. I don't know yet. I played a little bit of 5th edition during the play test. Some of it I really liked. Some of it I thought was very admirable. Some of it, not my favorite thing in the world. Definitely more appealing to me than what I saw of 4th edition or the lots and lots of 3rd edition that I played. So I can't say that I won't ever talk about 5e D&D or D&D Next or just Dungeons and Dragons, the current edition, however you want to call it. But I can't think of anything specific yet that we're going to talk about that. I've got episodes planned from here to the horizon. I think it's all pretty cool stuff, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I hope everyone subscribes. If you want to check out the website, the link is in the description below. The link to the Delver's Dungeon forums are in the description below. If you comment in the thread below, I may have time to respond. I may not. If you like the video, click like. If you like the channel, click subscribe. Thanks for watching, everybody. We got a lot of cool stuff planned. I guess technically next, but as far as content, first show we're going to launch next week. And no, I don't have a mouse in my pocket. There are actually other people involved in the production of this little clubhouse we're doing here. So thanks again for watching, everybody. Exciting times ahead, and we're all going to be a part of it. It's going to be great. Thanks.